Okay, so we decided to do our project on gender inequality for women in Afghanistan. And we're just going to begin here by showing you a short video on some shocking facts about women in Afghanistan.
Did you know 49% of the Afghan population are women? However, only 16% of women are employed. 85% of our women are uneducated, ranking Afghanistan as one of the lowest in the world for female education. Did you know 5 out of every 100 women die while giving birth? Did you know Afghanistan has one of the highest infant mortality rates of 6.6% in the world? Did you know one Afghan woman dies every 2 hours due to pregnancy complications? Did you know an estimated 2,000 women attempt suicide by setting themselves on fire every year as a result of domestic violence? Our women deserve better. Education today, better tomorrow. Visit AfghanWomenRights.com. Did you know 49% of the Afghan population are women? How
Okay, so one of the many problems in regards to inequality for women in Afghanistan is access to education. In 2013, of the 10.5 million students who were attending schools in Afghanistan, only 38% were women. The main problem lies in cultural values and beliefs. In traditional division of labor, a woman's role is within the household and focuses on serving a man. Many families still adhere to this belief and prevent their daughters from attending school, believing that it will alienate them from traditional lifestyles and values or make them bad wives and mothers if they attend school. Early marriage is also a social norm. According to the Department for International Development, more than 50% of girls are married by age 18 in Afghanistan. As a result, they are not allowed to attend school due to their domestic responsibilities and motherhood. Afghanistan has one of the largest gender gaps in primary and secondary enrollment. In 2012, the UNDP's, or United Nations Development Program, Gender Inequality Index ranked Afghanistan 147 out of 148, just one above Yemen. Afghanistan is considered one of the 5 most dangerous countries for women, as well as having the most dangerous transport systems for women, decreasing their opportunity and desire to enter into the workforce. Poverty also plays a large role in females' inability to attend school. Most families who live in poverty cannot invest in education for their daughters, and oftentimes fathers will oblige them to work in order to support the family. Beginning work at such a young age prevents them from attending school. Education policies play one of the largest roles in gender inequality. The government lacks clear, appropriate, and efficient policies for female education, as well as fails to remove barriers. Gender stereotyping is a large problem for females in the education setting as well. There are different expectations when it comes to males and females within the education system and after education. Objectives and goals also differ for each. Finally, females are mostly faced with harassment and violence by both teachers and male students, either at school or on their way to school. This is just an article, so the Afghan Express, and here are some quotes from that article. The challenge of gender inequality, particularly in Afghan society, is two-sided. On one hand, the male counterparts consider oppression against women justified in the given socio-cultural norms practiced within the society. On the other, women have willingly accepted this oppression because this attitude of subordination has its deep entrenchment within Afghan culture. In a study done by the UNICEF and the Afghanistan Central Statistic Organization on Women, asked questions about the acceptability of husbands hitting their wives. 92% of women felt that this was justified if the wife goes out without telling him, if she neglects the children, if she argues with him, if she refuses sex with him, if she burns the food, and if she wears inappropriate clothes. And some traditional religious barriers. Traditional religious barriers also play a large part towards inequality within central regions of Afghanistan. In some parts of Afghanistan, girls are only allowed to attend traditional madaris, where they learn only religious subjects. For example, there is a traditional value among Pashtuns in the southeastern region of the country called Pashtunwali. There is a famous Pashtu proverb that says, "For a woman, either the house or the grave." And this is just a quick graph that shows the amount of male and female students that have attended universities over the years. And while the number of female students has increased since 2002, it is still a lot less than the amount of male students.
Alright, so this next article is about living with patriarchy and poverty, women's agency, and the spatialities of gender relations in Afghanistan. Afghan patriarchy as the dominant social relation keeps women subordinate in many ways, and male control over women's labor power, reproduction, sexuality, mobility, and household economic resources is made evident throughout in women's narrations. The Taliban institutionalized women's oppression and systematic marginalization, but the fact of women's subordination remains indisputable also under the Karzai regime. So these are just a few personal accounts based on biographical interviews with 30 Afghan women in the cities of Kabul, Herat, and Jalalabad. First one is, our elders maintain that sending girls to school is against honor and leads to bad reputation in the community. This is why our girls have no access to education. The family of my father-in-law was very cruel to me. They were treating me like an animal, or like a slave who must do all the cleaning and cooking and follow orders. Sometimes my sister-in-law said, "You are the cleaner of this house, so don't try to be smart with us." My brother-in-law was also treating me very badly. When I was 10 years old, my parents engaged me with Hamid, and I cried a lot because I was just a child and it was hard for me to leave my family and go with a stranger. I had many sorrows in my life and never faced any happiness after the age of 10 years. My father married me just for money and not for my future. I was not like a daughter for him. I was just an animal when they sold me to some stranger. My husband has a Tonka and a horse, and he keeps his horse healthy and feeds it because he cares a lot about it, much more than about his wife and children. In our house, the horse has more importance than a woman. We have to marry our elder daughter and take the bride price for her, and with that money we will remove some of our social problems. I agreed on that with my husband, because if I did not marry my daughter for money, then who will pay for our food, health expenses, and house needs? In the past, everyone was just marrying their daughters or sisters for money, and this tradition is ongoing. Look at me, because I want to marry my daughter to a person who can give us a big amount of money as a bride price. Women have been treated like animals in our society since a long time. Women have no importance for the community. Only money changes everything, and if someone has a good income, the mind is relaxed, and they don't create disturbances at home. When no income is available, such as in my family, a male person becomes fed up and treats women badly. Many times my husband has beaten me just because of small things. My husband has beaten me with a piece of wood, sometimes a stone, and one time he also threatened me with a knife. He treated me like an animal and locked me in a dark room for 2 days with no food. But who will listen to me? Look at my neighbor, Rayma, who was also so very badly injured by her husband that afterwards she could not do her chores anymore. Then he divorced her, and now she has lost her honor, is with her parents, and he remarried. My girls are uneducated because I married 2 of them at an early age. 2 others are still with me. If I send one daughter to school, the other would be alone in the house, and my husband is sick. So if something happens, who would go out and inform the neighbors? If I send my son to school, and I will try my best to give him a good education so that he can make his future bright. Another article we found is called Gender Role Attitudes, Who Supports Expanded Rights for Women in Afghanistan. This study shows that men have opposing opinions of procuring basic rights for women or empowering women politically, and due to endured untold hardships under the Taliban regime, Afghan men still cling vehemently to their advantaged position over women. Afghan men's patriarchal socialization beckons them incessantly towards women's domination. In this study, 6,593 adults in Afghanistan were interviewed. These interviews showed that more than any other Muslim society, Afghanistan is a nation of strict gender segregationist traditions, where men have their place and women have their place, in a society that has justified the division throughout their history. In this article, Alex talks about strengthening women's rights in Afghanistan. Although the Middle East is diverse with varying cultures, the region shares common challenges in securing gender equality. reproductive health rights, and women's sexual autonomy. The root cause of Middle Eastern instability can be clearly drawn from the absence of women in societal roles and governments throughout much of the Middle Eastern region. When considering this lack of gender equality, specifically female representation, in societies and governments, a country cannot advance nor thrive when only utilizing half of its population. If women are not contributing to the economy due to an inability to access education and pursue paying jobs, the economy will inevitably fall short compared to other nations where contributions are made from a majority of the population. Afghanistan provides an accurate example of the worst cases of gender inequality that is widely present through the Middle East region. Only 15% of women are working outside their home, 86% of Afghan women are illiterate, and only about 7% have received secondary education. Enduring hope, women's disengagement and change in Afghanistan. Women's rights in Afghanistan is a crucial concern that can greatly improve women's health. The hope theory is a study that helps capture Afghan women's understanding of reality, specifically those that want to help expand women's roles in Afghan life in the community. Many of the 107 women from 10 different locations that were focused on in this study were those that believed that they were not worthy of human rights. According to the Taliban rule, women cannot receive treatment by male doctors, and women cannot be trained to be physicians, which has led to high rates of mortality among females. There has been an increase of certified midwives that has helped decrease maternal mortality. Another program that has been successful within family planning services is providing contraceptives and knowledge about safety and health-related issues. The post-Taliban Afghan government has also started to integrate women into political and cultural positions by having at least 25% of the new parliament be comprised of women. The Millennium Development Goals, as part of the Millennium Development Declaration, that relate to girls' or women's development, include universal primary education, promoting gender equality and women's empowerment, reducing child mortality, and improving maternal health. Organizations, as such, have a critical role in creating equal rights for women. This includes the access to education, income-generating programs, and contribute to the overall well-being of Afghan women. In this study, most of the women were considered a burden to society and identified themselves as a problem in their family by the way they are perceived by different family members. Most of the time, these women don't have knowledge about rights because of the control that the family or spouse has over them. In the rural areas that some participants lived it was clear that they didn't experience human rights, have gone through physical and humiliating punishments, denied education, and are unable to make choices for themselves. The hope that comes from this study is to start from the bottom up to change the way women are seen and treated in Afghanistan. Afghanistan represents one of the most extreme cases of gender inequality in the world. We know that nearly 90% of rural Afghan women are illiterate, and violence is prevalent against females in the form of physical, psychological, and sexual abuse, as well as approximately 57% of females are married before the age of 16 years, with a majority being forced marriages. So how can we fix this? With providing education to young girls and women in Afghanistan with the combination of these three organizations, CARE, Afghan Women's Rights, and Women for Women. We plan to raise awareness using posters and flyers, information to these organization websites, and sharing videos such as the one in this slide on social media.
So, social marketing campaign. We first are going to be talking about the CARE organization supporting Afghan girls and their dreams.
که مانع دخترایشان میشن و نمیفهمن که تعلیم چه قسم چقدر ارزش است و چقدر به دختران مهم است که باید تعلیم بکنن، اما اونا نفهمیده هستند که دختر خود به درس خواندن نمی‌آورند.
وقتی که مکتب آمدید چی رو یاد گرفتین؟ وقتی که در مکتب
Everybody thinks, all right, we can get girls into school, first grade, second grade, third grade. But then what?
Well, the program I've been involved in is unique because it involves secondary education for girls. We educate girls from grades 7 to 9. Girls are of an age where they're eligible to be married. And so we have to compete against that. The key has been the project staff's ability to work with the local community such the communities view the school as their school.
وقتی که دفتر کیه پوزیشن‌ها رو به خاطر پروژه سیبی را کنن چون فهمیدم در بخش خانه ها کار میکنم از این خاطر که خدمات خوبتر ارزش کرده باشن و به دخترایی که به منطقه دو دست هستم کمک کرده باشم در پوزیشن
من خپلاتون ما ته خدمت وکړم هغه که د هر لحاظه یې که د معلومۍ په لحاظ که د ډاکټرۍ د
در دور خوست ولسوالی نعم که از ولسوالی ماست که هیچ دکتر به نام زن آنجا موجود نیست.
We've provided something that Afghans want. That's been the key to CARE's success in promoting secondary education in Afghanistan.
پروژه سیبی دستاوردهای بسیار خوب زیاد خود داره. اولی موفقیت شاگردان در بانتونها
ما مسئول پانزه طبی در ولایت خوست هستیم که سیبی
Ultimately, they'll determine what they want to be.
از تای قلب از پیش تشکر میکنم که اینا احساس در مورد دخترهای افغان دارن که حتما اینا آرزو دارن که روز دخترهای افغان با مقایسه دخترهای خارج ببینن.
So, CARE plays a key role in strengthening community-based schools, reaching over 106,500 children living in the remote areas where there are no public schools. In partnership with communities, CARE assisted in the gradual incorporation of schools and teachers into the public system, overseeing the transition of almost 60,000 pupils and 2,350 community-based teachers into the public education system. Women for Women. Women for Women is an international campaign that has been effortlessly trying to improve women's status across the globe since 1993. Since then, it has helped over 462,000 women in countries affected by war and conflict. Women for Women brings women together in a safe environment and offers them a safe place to learn life, business, and vocational skills. The women who enrolled in this program also receive a monthly stipend that enables them to participate. By taking part in this campaign, women increase their ability to earn an income by learning new skills that are in demand. They also learn about their legal rights and become more knowledgeable about health and nutrition. The result equals stronger women. Since 2002, Women for Women International Afghanistan has served more than 109,000 women through the year-long program. The program focuses on increasing certain skills such as animal husbandry, agriculture, tailoring, rug weaving, and handicrafts. After graduation from the program, women found an increased income from 10 cents to $1.27. Practice of family planning, participation in household financial decisions, and sharing their rights with other women. Women for Women Afghanistan also engages men as allies in women's empowerment by improving their knowledge about health, social, and economic issues that can have a negative effect on women. To date, over 2,200 men have participated. Afghan Women Rights. This organization works with government officials and non-government organizations to work on getting girls in school, providing female teachers and government officials to serve as role models, establishing non-formal school systems to allow kids to be taught at home in non-traditional settings, and work with programs to raise funds for the education of these young girls and women. To raise awareness of gender inequality, we are going to be passing out this flyer that has the organizations that we are promoting for our social marketing campaign, along with the websites to donate. And this is our sources that we used. Thank you.